Hey guys, this is the third type of answer type. It's vague viewpoints. Now I know these names are, they sound a little fun, direct details, implied ideas, the vague viewpoints, but I do want you to remember them because it helps you to have a plan of attack when you're running into a problem, especially when you're kind of stumped. Then at least you're looking for something actively rather than panicking, okay? So I call them direct, implied, vague, and the last one is analogies, because it's easier to remember. It's the DIVA method, okay? It's the DIVA method of answer choices. Keep that in mind, and you should be able to remember each answer type. So let's look at the V in DIVA. Here's a passage from the first practice test as well. I think it's the second one in there about giving gifts. But again, do not need to read it. You do not need to read it. It's not important to answer this question. The authors refer to work by Camara and others in order to, and here are my choices. Like, these are really vague, aren't they? So vague viewpoints mean that the answer choices themselves are not very specific. Like, what's the explanation? How is it offered? Which argument is introduced? What motive is questioned? And what conclusion is supported? Now, I find that a lot of students get confused on these particular questions because when you think about what these answer choices mean, because they're so vague, a lot of people kind of think, well, it could mean this, it could mean that. They start throwing it around everywhere and saying, it's offering something. Is it offering an explanation? Maybe. It's questioning something. So when you think kind of too vaguely about the vague viewpoint, that's when you get stumped. But when you try and connect what each of those vague things mean and what it links to in the passage, that's when you can cross off wrong answers and circle the right one. Okay, let's take a look at these. Line 56. Here it is. According to Camara and others, gift giving represents a symbolic ritual whereby gift givers attempt to signal their positive attitudes towards the intended recipient and their willingness to invest resources in a future relationship. Again, don't let this wash over you. Think about what it means. Write it down in bullet points. So according to this guy, gift giving is a symbolic ritual. That's the first point. What kind of symbolic ritual? It's one where the givers are trying to signal their positive feelings towards the recipients. That's another point. One more point there. It says, and they're signaling their willingness to invest resources in a future relationship. So to recap, Camara says, gift giving is done in order to signal your positive attitude towards your relationship and also to signal that you want to invest more in that relationship. That's what the sentence says. But that's not what any of the answer choices say. So let's look at the answer choices again. Which of these are being referred to? This is offering an explanation. So let's see, first of all, how is this an explanation? Well, it's explaining Camara's theory, right? That's one possible explanation. So let's think that as a maybe. It's introducing an argument. Yeah, I mean, there's an argument there, I guess. It's the argument about why people give gifts. It says question a motive. Now, I see a motive there for sure, the motive for gift giving. But did anything about that really question it? Did it say, hey, that's not right, that doesn't seem correct? So I'm going to cross off the word question here. That can't be correct. D says support a conclusion. Well, this could definitely be support because it's a report or it's information from this guy Camara. So it's supporting something. Is it supporting a conclusion? I don't know. I need to look back to see if that's true. I also need to look back to see whether it was introducing the idea or whether it was supporting an idea. So let's take a look. This was the sentence itself, but the prior sentence said, perhaps givers believe that bigger gifts convey stronger signals of thoughtfulness and consideration. Now, personally, I do notice as I'm reading that there was a question mark right there. And that always gets my attention because if there's a question asked, most likely the author's going to answer it. So why do gift givers assume that gift price is closely linked to gift recipients' feelings of appreciation? Hey, why do they think that? Why do people who give gifts think that the price is important to how people receiving gifts feel? Well, maybe the answer is the givers believe that bigger gifts show more thoughtfulness. And then it goes into the sentence we're looking at, which is, according to this guy, blah, 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 blah. So right away, as I look back at the questions, I now realize that it cannot be B, because we're definitely not introducing an idea. It was already introduced. So this line by Chimera is support for that previous line, right? It's not introducing. So even though it is an argument, I'm not going to pick B because it says introduce. So cross off introduce. Then I'm stuck between A and D. They both sound kind of good. Offer an explanation. Yeah, Chimera's explanation is why gift givers think this way. A totally works for me. But what about D? D was supporting something too. That works. But hang on, it says support a conclusion. A conclusion is like a final thought, what you realized. But if I look back at the passage, that wasn't a conclusion. It was a potential theory. It was like, maybe, perhaps. That's not a conclusion. So for that reason, I know it's not going to be D. Hence, the answer must be A in this case. What did I do? I made sure to tie or try to connect every single vague viewpoint to something in the text. After I did that, I found only one successfully did that. Let's try one more question. I think it's a little bit harder, but you may have a different opinion. Here's the passage. Again, it's from the first practice test from the College Board. Here's the question. What function does the discussion of water in lines 35 to 40 serve in passage 1? Here are my 4 answer choices. Well, I think my first step is to go back and read the lines. Let's go take a look at those lines. So here's the line, or the lines I should say. Water ice from the moon's poles could be sent to astronauts on the International Space Station for drinking or as a radiation shield. Splitting water into oxygen and hydrogen makes spacecraft fuel, so ice-rich asteroids could become interplanetary refueling stations. So, first of all, again, let me see what this information actually says. First point is that water, ice, from the moon could be sent to the ISS, and they could use that to drink, or they could use it as protection from radiation. Okay, so make a note of that. Next, it said that if we split the water into oxygen and hydrogen, it can be used as fuel. So the asteroids could become fuel stations. Okay, so those were the 2 points I made about the water ice, but the question's asking me, what's the function of that discussion of water? I'm not going to try and guess it right now. My first answer would be exactly what it says in that paragraph. It just says water is going to be used for this. It's going to be used for that. So I would say water is going to be very useful in space. Let's check A. A says it continues an extended comparison that begins in the previous paragraph. Oh, look at this. They're all about the previous paragraph. I love this. It's going to be easy for me. I just have to check. So let me go check to see whether or not there's a comparison in the previous paragraph and whether or not this paragraph continues that comparison. If we look here, I do say that water could become very desirable, that gold is useless and water is essential in the desert. There's no comparison, is there? And even if there was a comparison there, there's really no comparison here. So in no way, shape, or form could A be the answer. B says it provides an unexpected answer to a question raised in the previous paragraph. Let's see, where's the question here? Well, there's one question. The question was, what's worth more, a kilogram of gold or a kilogram of water? Now, does this paragraph answer the question, first of all? And secondly, is it an unexpected answer? Because it did say unexpected answer. So, water is like this, water is like that. Does it say anywhere within this paragraph whether or not water is more valuable than gold? I'm definitely saying that water is valuable, but I'm not answering the question, what's more valuable in the desert? Because we're not even in the desert, guys. We're in space here. So clearly B is just way off as well. But you know what? A lot of you may pick that because you're seeing that it's mentioning that what is valuable. But when you come back and you do the process that I'm doing here, which is thinking and saying, does this answer do exactly what it's saying it's supposed to do? Is there an answer to the question raised in the previous paragraph? What was the question? Think about the question exactly. What's more valuable in the desert? Those key words make an answer right or wrong. You can have an answer choice that's perfect. It's perfect for like 19 out of 20 words. But if one word in an answer choice is wrong, that whole answer choice has to be wrong. So never get kind of seduced by the answer that sounds good, it's mostly right. One word makes an answer wrong, okay? Let's check out C, guys. It offers hypothetical examples supporting a claim made in the previous paragraph. Okay, so let's find what the claim is. Let's see if there are hypothetical examples.
So here's the passage again. We're looking for, remember, the hypothetical example of the claim. So what was the claim in the previous paragraph? Is there a claim? Well, the claim here is that water could be the most desired commodity. That's a claim. Are there hypothetical examples in this paragraph? So water ice could be sent to astronauts for this, and this. Already, I don't need to I don't even need to check the second one, but I can. It says splitting water could make the asteroids into interplanetary refueling stations. So I definitely see a claim. I definitely see hypothetical examples because of the could be. Okay, so C looks to me to be the right answer. But of course, we want to check D. D says it examines possible outcomes of a proposal put forth in the previous paragraph. All right, ladies and gentlemen, where is the proposal? Let's find the proposal in the previous paragraph. Water could be desired. What's more valuable?
There's no proposal. There's no suggestion. So it's not the answer.
So the answer must be C.
So that's the end of this lesson. Remember, here's what I need you to check out.
Connect vague viewpoints to details in the passage, okay? Make sure that when you have those words, suggest a conclusion, offer an explanation, describe a phenomenon. Find what that phenomenon is. Find what that conclusion is. If you can't find it, it's not the answer. And then I also recommend that as you work, you cross off the words that don't connect to anything. That way, it's kind of easier to narrow down your answer choices and you get less confused. Okay, that's the end of vague viewpoints. We've got one more type of answer question to go, and then you'll be done with the answer types.